Look around you. Everywhere you turn, the world seems to be unraveling. Wildfires blaze across continents, leaving entire landscapes scorched. Hurricanes and floods destroy entire cities, sparing nothing in their path. Global pandemics bring societies to their knees, paralyzing economies and disrupting daily life. Wars erupt in far corners, leaving countless lives in devastation and despair. Our planet is burdened by pollution that chokes the air and poisons our waters. Natural disasters, once considered rare, are now common, leaving behind trails of destruction. Humanity's progress, once thought to be unstoppable, now appears fragile. As these alarming events unfold, the question arises, are we witnessing the signs of the end times? Could the upheaval we see today be the fulfillment of ancient prophecies foretold long ago? For thousands of years, people have turned to the Bible, the most powerful prophetic book in history, for answers. Its pages are filled with visions and warnings about the future, many of which seem to align with the events we see today. The Bible's prophecies span millennia, from the creation of the earth to its ultimate end. As the world grapples with unprecedented turmoil, many are wondering if the Bible's predictions about the end of the world are coming true. The Bible, unlike any other historical text, not only tells us how the world began, but how it will ultimately conclude. As the events of today mirror ancient warnings, people are beginning to question if the fate of the world has already been foretold. Are we witnessing the fulfillment of prophecies that have been set in motion for thousands of years? The Bible is often viewed as a book of history and spiritual guidance, but it is much more than that. At its core, it is a prophetic text, with nearly 1/3 of its content devoted to predicting the future. Its prophetic messages span thousands of years, covering not just personal or spiritual matters, but global events, societal shifts, and natural phenomena. The Bible is unlike any other history book. No other text covers such a broad range of events, from the dawn of time to the end of days. More importantly, no other book contains predictions that have been fulfilled with such stunning accuracy. These are not vague or symbolic predictions. The Bible's prophecies are specific and detailed, foretelling events with incredible precision. The Bible includes 735 distinct prophecies about the future, scattered throughout its chapters. About 1 in every 4 chapters contains a prophetic message, from the rise and fall of empires to the coming of the Messiah. The Bible foretells the coming of the Messiah and the eventual return of Jesus Christ to the earth. What is truly remarkable is how many of these prophecies have already come to pass. Out of the 735 prophecies, 596 have already been fulfilled, many of them centuries after they were written. That means 81% of all the Bible's predictions have come true, often with precise detail. Given the Bible's track record, it takes little faith to believe that the remaining 19% will also come to pass. The fulfillment of prophecy is one of the strongest evidences for the divine inspiration of the Bible. These prophecies were written by men in ancient times, yet they described events thousands of years in the future. The accuracy of these predictions is nothing short of miraculous. With so much already fulfilled, we look to the future, knowing that the remaining prophecies will one day unfold. Many of the Bible's prophecies concern the end times, a period described as the final era of human history for the return of Jesus Christ. The Bible provides detailed descriptions of this time, often associated with chaos, suffering, and global upheaval. Wars, natural disasters, famines, and plagues will increase in intensity and frequency. Societies will experience moral decay, and the love of many will grow cold as sin becomes rampant. False prophets will rise, deceiving many with promises of salvation, while the true message of the gospel is preached to every corner of the earth. In the Gospel of Matthew chapter 24, Jesus' disciples ask, "What will be the sign of your coming and the end of the age?" Jesus responds, warning that many will come in his name, claiming to be the Messiah. They will deceive many. He foretells wars and rumors of wars, but he cautions, "Do not be alarmed, for these things must happen. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines, earthquakes, and disasters, but these are just the beginning of the birth pains, signs of something new about to be born." Jesus warns that his followers will face persecution, hatred, and betrayal, but those who endure to the end will be saved. False prophets will emerge, leading many astray with their deceptive signs and wonders. Sin will become rampant, and the love of many will grow cold. But the gospel will be preached to all nations. and only then will the final events unfold. These predictions may seem terrifying, but they are not meant to instill fear. Instead, they prepare us for what is to come. Jesus tells his followers to watch and pray, to stay alert and aware of the signs around them. His warnings are a call to vigilance, faith, and perseverance in the face of the end times. Many people today wonder if we are living in the last days. The signs Jesus described, wars, natural disasters, moral decline, are all present in our world. But it is important to remember that the Bible speaks of the last days not as a short period of time, but as a long era that began with the first coming of Christ. According to the Bible, we have been living in the last days for over 2,000 years, ever since the day of Pentecost, when the Holy Spirit descended upon the disciples. Every generation of Christians is called to live as if Christ could return at any moment, staying prepared and vigilant. While the last days have been ongoing for centuries, many believe that we are now closer than ever to the fulfillment of the final prophecies. The signs of the times are becoming more intense, just as Jesus said they would. Natural disasters are increasing in frequency and severity, and global conflicts are escalating. The moral fabric of society seems to be unraveling, as the love of many grows cold. At the same time, the gospel is being preached to more people than ever before, thanks to modern technology and global communication. It is possible that we are witnessing the final stages of the last days, and that the return of Christ is drawing near. One of the most compelling reasons to take the Bible's prophecies seriously is their incredible accuracy. As mentioned earlier, 81% of the Bible's 735 prophecies have already been fulfilled. Many of these prophecies were made centuries before the events they predicted, yet they were fulfilled with stunning precision. For example, the Bible predicted the rise and fall of empires, the birth and crucifixion of Jesus Christ, and the scattering and regathering of the Jewish people, all of which have come to pass. The fulfillment of these prophecies demonstrates that the Bible is not just a book of spiritual teachings, but a divinely inspired text that reveals the future with perfect accuracy. If the Bible has been 100% accurate in every prophecy that has been fulfilled so far, we can trust that the remaining 19% will also come true. This includes the prophecies about the end times and the return of Jesus Christ. Many of the remaining prophecies concern the second coming of Christ, the final judgment, and the establishment of God's eternal kingdom. These events are yet to be fulfilled, but they are the culmination of the Bible's prophetic message. As believers, we are called to watch for these events and to be prepared for Christ's return. Jesus told his followers to watch and pray as they await his return. But what exactly should we be watching for? Jesus gave us clear signs, many of which are described in Matthew 24 in the book of Revelation. These signs include wars, famines, earthquakes, and other natural disasters, as well as the spread of the gospel to all nations. Jesus also warned of false prophets and messiahs who would arise in the last days, claiming to have the answers to the world's problems. As we watch the events of the world unfold, we must be careful not to be deceived by these false prophets. Many people will claim to have solutions to the world's crises, but only Christ can bring true peace and salvation. The Bible warns us not to place our trust in human leaders or false saviors, but to keep our eyes fixed on Jesus and his promises. While many of the Bible's prophecies have already been fulfilled, there are still some key events that must take place before the end of the world. According to the Bible, there are approximately 20 prophecies that remain unfulfilled. These include the rise of the Antichrist, a figure who will deceive the nations and establish himself as a global ruler. He will deceive the nations and gain control over global leadership. And the return of Jesus Christ, who will defeat the forces of evil and establish God's eternal kingdom on earth. Jesus will defeat the forces of evil and establish God's eternal kingdom on earth.